Hello all, welcome to my channel Vet Lecture. Today we will discuss multiple choice questions on veterinary extension. Question number first. Agriculturism is the characteristic features of option A, rural society, option B, tribal society, option C, urban society, or option D, metro society. The right answer is option A, that is rural society. Actually, agriculturism is the characteristic features of rural society, while industrialism and technology are characteristic features of urban society, and superstition is more in tribal society. And if we see that interpersonal relation, which is more informal in rural society while formal in case of urban society, and in case of education status, which is higher in urban society while lower in rural society. And in rural society, that family as a work unit, while in case of that urban society, individuals as a work unit. And if we see that natures of people, we found homogeneous people in rural society while heterogeneous people in urban society. Question number 2. An example of primary group is option A, tea club, option B, university, option C, dairy cooperative society, or option D, family. The right answer is option D, that is family. Family is an example of primary group. Let's see different type of group. There are, that is, four types of group. Primary group is more cohesive and relatively small and long lasting group which is sharing personal and emotional bonding. An example of that primary groups are family, close friend, peers groups, and friends. While social group, which is more formally organized group and not as emotionally attached as like of primary group, and it is mainly characterized by larger and then temporary and more task oriented than relationship. Example of that social groups are co-worker, club, and sport teams, extra. And similarly, that collectives is a larger group of individuals who display similar actions or outlook, mainly characterized by loosely formations, spontaneous and brief. An example of collectives like audience at cinema hall, passenger in a bus. Similarly, that categories, which is a large group of individuals who are similar in some way, just giving name to show similarities. For example, drunkards, Americans, Chinese, extra. Let's see that group formation process majorly include five major steps. First step is forming, which is mainly characterized by dependence, safe, and pattern behavior, where that all members depend on a group leader, and group leader guide and provide sufficient direction to that member. And it is followed by steps storming, which is mainly characterized by there is the arising of that competitions and conflict among member of group for that leadership, powers, and authorities, which is followed by norming, which is mainly characterized by that cohesion in interpersonal relationship, where group members start to respect all their member contributions for maintenance, group formations, and solving the group issue, which is followed by performing, which is mainly characterized by more productive and highly task oriented steps, and where group member work independently in a subgroup or in a group with equal facilities. And at last, that is adjoining, which is the after the termination of a task, that the disengagement from group relationship will occur. Question number 3. Which of the following is the formal institution? Option A, Charkha Mandal. Option B, Bhajana Mandal. Option C, school. Option D, tea shop. The right answer is option C, which is school. School is an example of formal institutions. Let's see the difference between formal and informal institutions. Then if we see that in case of origin, we found that formal institutions that formed under a fixed plan, while informal institutions form spontaneously. And in case of formal institution, the objectives of that formation of the formal institutions is already predetermined, creatives, and related to development. While in case of that informal institutions, it is formed to provide mental satisfaction, service, extra. And let's see the size. Then formal institutions are generally large in size, while informal institutions comparatively small in size. And if we see that stability, that formal institutions have a greater stability and longer life as compared to the informal institutions, which has temporary and short period stability. And if we see that scope of that formal institutions, it is wide, while in case of informal institution, it is very limited. And if we see that's rule, that in case of formal institutions it has complete rule which are written, while in case of informal institutions has incomplete rule which are unwritten. And that's needs, that formal institutions are only formed when there is a need, while in case of informal institutions it is optional. And if we see that chain of command, that formal institutions follow that official chain of command, that is higher uh, authorities follow, lower authorities follow the order of their higher authorities, while in case of that informal institutions, that chain of command may or may not be followed. Okay. Question number 4. That father of sociology is option A, Adam Smith, option B, Auguste Comte, option C, A.R. Desai, option D, Aristotle. The right answer is option B, that is Auguste Comte. That father of sociology is Auguste Comte, while Adam Smith is the father of economics. And there's a person who did the first who proposed that the farmer's first model was R. Chamber, and that father of the demonstrations in case of extension is Seaman Knapp, and that Wilsons and Gallup put forwarded the steps in extension teaching. Question number 5. Study of the law of the structures and function of the ruler society known as option A, sociology, option B, human sociology, option C, ruler sociology, option D, none. The right answer is option C, that is ruler sociology. That ruler sociology is the branch of sociology which deal with the study of that structures and law and function of the ruler society. Question number 6. Tendency of people to think of their culture as best, known as option A, egoism, option B, ethnocentrism, option C, ethnomedicine, option D, all. The right answer is option B, that is ethnocentrism. Actually, that ethnocentrism is the tendency of people to think of their culture as the best, while egoism is a philosophy that concern with the rule of the self or ego as the motivations and goal of one's own action. In case of egoism, people think that oneself as a greater, while ethnomedicine broadly refer that traditional medicinal practice which is concerned with that cultural interpretations of health, disease, and illness that address the healthcare process and healing practices. Question number 7. Socially prescribed form of behavior which is transmitted by traditional and enforced by social disapproval of its violations called as option A, culture, option B, norms, option C, more, option D, taboos. The right answer is option B, norms. Okay, norms are that socially prescribed form of behavior which is transmitted by traditions and also enforced by social disapproval of its violations. There are four types of norm. That is folkway, that's such type of norms which stems from and organize casual interactions. uh, that prohibitions of this norms is not punishable, for example dress code, hairstyle, etc. While mores is such types of norms that structures the difference between right and wrong, and its prohibitions of these norms is punishable, for example crime, murder, theft, etc. And taboos is strongly negative norms which is violating its results in extreme disgust. For example, like prohibitions of vaccines of animal against FMD due to its misbelief is an example of taboos. And at last, that law norms that formally formed at state or federal level. Question number 8. An example of covert culture is option A, dress, option B, industrial product, option C, folkway, option D, attitude. The right answer is option D, that is attitude. Attitude is an example of covert culture. There are mainly two types of culture, that is material culture and non-material culture. Material culture includes all the things that transfer as a part of collective social life. For example, preparation of food, manufacture of steel, the computers, the landscape of garden, etc. While non-material culture include the word, symbol, music, idea of the social system. The most important idea are attitudes, values, and norms. Example, swastik sign, Om Devda Nach, Chandi Nach, Maruni Nach, etc. While Non-material cultures are also of two types, that is overt culture and covert culture. Overt culture refer to culture or action that is easily observable. For example, running, dancing, smiling. While covert culture refer to culture that is not observable, include mental process. For example, like thinking, dreaming, attitude, etc. Question number 9. Which of these factors play role in social change? Option A, geographic factor. Option B, economic factor. Option C, political factor. Or option D, all. The right answer is option D, that is all. Social change is mean the change in the society, either in the change in social organizations, social structure, social customs, belief, etc. over a certain period of time. That the factor which play important role in social change include all, that is geographic, economic and political factor, and also technological factor as well. An example of that, some technological factor of social change is AI. And veterinarian as an extension education specialist act as a change agent. Here are some characteristics of social change. Social change are universal in nature. That is, social change happening in everywhere. It is not concentrated in one place. It is happening in everywhere. So it is universal in nature. Second, social change is inevitable. That is, human being are selfish creature. It doesn't satisfied in a same condition and always want some kind of change. So social change is necessary and it is inevitable. And also social change is a continuous process. There is a no drastically change happen, but it is a slowly, gradually continuous process. Here are some forms of social change, that is evolutionary change. That change that do not occurs of sudden but occurs gradually, but it appears like it's occurs suddenly. Such type of change is known as evolutionary change. While fluctuating change, that the change that fluctuates like a wave, sometimes the change toward the progress sides while sometimes toward the digress sides. Similarly, another one is like cyclic change, change that occurs in a cyclic manner in which previous events reoccur. For example, dress code. Our traditional dress code, which is followed by our ancestors, after sometimes there's a modern dress code, and again we comes toward that traditional dress code. It is an example of a cyclic change. Okay. Question number 10. Which of the following phrase applied to extension education? Option A, continuous process. Option B, educative process. Option C, two-way process. Or option D, all. The right answer is option D, that is all. Characteristic of extension educations are that extension actually literally means stretching out. X means out and tension means stretching. And extension can be considered as service, professions and discipline, and it is a continuous process, it is an educative process, it is an two-way process, it is an applied science, it is an informal education. And extension education is helping people to help themselves. And extension is learning by doing while seeing and believing. And the term extension was formally first introduced in 1873 by Cambridge University. Question number 11. The difference between what is and what is ought to be is called as option A, problem, option B, needs, option C, wealth, option D, constant. The right answer is option B, that is need. The difference between what is and what is ought to be is needs, while that the expression of the end toward which the effort or direction is goal. Question number 12. The process by which a person becomes changed in his behavior through self-activity is known as option A, attention, option B, objective, option C, learning, option D, teaching. The right answer is option C, that is learning. Learning is a process by which a person becomes changed in his behavior through self-activity. Here are some elements of teaching learning situation, that is, there's a five essential elements of teaching learning situation. That is, first is like instructor. Instructor is a like extension teacher. Second one is a learner who learns something. Third one is a subject matter, what thing that instructor teaches to the learner. Third is like teaching equipments and materials, which includes projector, board, chalk, duster, marker, books, journal, by which mean that instructor teaches learner. And the last one is physical facility, which include like classroom environment, like there is an extra sound or not, there's a presence of ventilation facilities or not, extra. Question number 13. First steps in extension teaching process is option A, satisfaction, option B, affection, option C, attention, option D, concentration. The right answer is option C, that is attention. First steps in extension teaching process is attention. There are some steps in learning process, that is steps of extension teaching process are first is attention, that is getting attention of the learner. Second is interest, stimulating learner interest. Third is desire, arousing learner desire for informations. Fourth one is conviction, that convincing the learner that he would go for that action. And fifth one is action, that is getting action by the learner. And last is satisfaction, that is that ascertaining that satisfaction, that learner gets satisfactions from actions. Okay. Question number 14. Community development program was started in the year option A 1952, option B 1985, option C 1945, option D 1955. The right answer is option A, that is 1952. Community development program was started in the year of 1952, and some community development program lay more emphasis on that people participations, and that the main aim of, if we see that the main aim of community development program, it is overall development of the people. And if there's a main objective of that community development programs are like to assist that in building good panchayat cooperatives school, provide minimum health facility, providing recreational facilities, and a person that overseeing the community development activities at block level is that block development officer. And if we see that the principle of community development, it include major five principle, that is first is that go to the people, and then live with the people, and then work with the people, and then start the program from what they have, and at last that plan with the people. Question number 15. Which of the following is not a group teaching method? Option A, meeting. Option B, buzz session. Option C, cinema. Option D, circular letter. The right answer is option C, that is cinema. Example of that group teaching methods like meeting, buzz sessions, and circular letter. And if we see that on the basis of use, extension teaching methods are divided into three categories, that is individual teaching method, group teaching method, mass teaching method. Example of that like individual teaching method is farm and home visit, and then office call, personal letter, telephone call, result demonstration, email, mobile, modern communication technology, extra. While group teaching methods includes method demonstration, result demonstration, field trip, all kind of meeting, group discussions, training, lecture, workshop, and seminar. And the example of mass teaching methods like all printed material, broadcasting media, social media like Facebook, Gmail, website, exhibitions, campaign, extra. And on the basis of form, extension teaching methods are classified into, that is five type. First is written form, that all printed materials, personal letter, circular letters comes under written form. And similarly general and specific meeting, discussion, farm and home visit, office call, radio comes under spoken form. And demonstration, exhibitions, poster, chart, slide, motion picture, visual ads comes under visuals form. And meeting at result demonstration, meeting involving motion picture, televisions comes under spoken and visuals form. While radio, TV, computer, laptop, mobile, social media like email, Facebook, website, telephone comes under electronic form. Since there is a note that one important limitations of radio is that there is only one-way communication. There is no any two-way communications. And similar that most important teaching method during disease outbreak is campaign. Similarly that most appropriate extension teaching method is that combinations of all three extension teaching method, that is individual teaching methods, group teaching methods, and mass teaching methods. Question number 16. Ideal method for showing the poultry farmer how to mix medicine in water is an example of option A, method demonstration, option B, result demonstration, option C, home visit, option D, office call. The right answer is like method demonstration. For that, the showing the poultry farmer how to mix medicine in water is the best method is like a method demonstration. While to show the worth of a new feed formulation to the farmer, that effective teaching method is like result demonstration. And the method that used when the farmer isn't there in a field while the extension worker make a visit, that is known as flag method. Since Flag method is a method where a group of farmer is appointed together to visit that farmers visited to that fellow farmer, and farmer itself gives some advice and carry feedback from that farmer to that research institutes, and that farmers themselves organize some training program about the problem and also measures to address them. Such types of that method is known as flag methods. Question number 17. Which of the following isn't example of projected teaching aid? Option A, LCD. Option B, OHP. Option C, slide projector. Option D, poster. The right answer is option D, that is poster. Example of projected teaching aids like LCD, OHP, slide projector. Okay, here are some types of teaching aids, that is instructional ad. First is printed media, which include textbook, workbook, study guides, pamphlet, reference book, newspaper, magazine, reference book, extra. While audio ad, which include radio, phonograph, tape recorder, visual ads, which include chalkboards, still pictures, and there's a non-projected ads as well, which include phonograph, illustrations, and projected ads, which include slides, film stripes, opaque object projector, overhead projector, OHP, and there's also some graphic materials, which include charts, graph, map, posters, exhibitions, which include school-made display, bulletin board, museum, plant board, felt board, object, specimen, models, audiovisual aids, which include motion picture, televisions, video, demonstration and dramatization, and community resource, which include field trips, resource person, extra. Question number 18. The stage in program planning which follow the stage of evaluation is option A, re-evaluation, option B, analysis of situation, option C, reconsideration, option D, appraisals. The right answer is option C, that is reconsideration. The stage in program planning which follow the stage of evaluation is reconsideration. Let's see some basic steps which involve in program planning and action. That is the first steps like collecting facts, and then analyzing the situation. After analyzing the situations, we need to identify the needs and problem in that condition, in that society, and then after identifying the needs and problems, we need to decide our objectives, and then after deciding the objective, we should develop a plan of work, and then executing the work, and then after that executing the plan, we should evaluate either it's work according to our plan or not, and then after if completions, if that program is successful and should be carried on, and we should reconsider that program as well. Question number 19. Farmer having less than 1 hectare of dry land only is classified as option A, small farmer, option B, marginal farmer, option C, large farmer, option D, landless farmer. The right answer is option B, that is marginal farmer. Farmer that having less than 1 hectare of dry land is classified under as marginal farmer on the basis of land holding in acre. That marginal farmer has less than 1 hectare of land, while small farmers include which have 1 to 2 hectare of land, and medium farmers includes 2 to 4 hectares of land. Medium farmers have 4 to 10 hectares of land, while large farmers are those farmers which having more than above 10 hectares of land. Okay. Question number of 20. The principle of cooperations imply that non-alignment to any political body and observance of neutrality are the fundamental aspect to be observed in a cooperative society comes under the principle of option E, economic independence, option B, political neutrality, option C, cultural neutralities, option D, cultural dependence. The right answer is option B, that is political neutrality. Okay, question number 21. In the word democracy, crazy means to rule, while demos means option A, demons, option B, people, option C, king, option D, army. The right answer is option B, that is people. In the word democracy, crazy means to rule, while demo means peoples. Question number 22. Outline the activity so arranged so as to enable effective executions of program is known as option A, program cycle, option B, span of work, option C, plan of work, option D, evaluation. The right answer is option C, that is plan of work. Actually, that plan of work is an activities which includes that the outline of that all the activities so arranged as to enable effective executions of that program. While that in case of calendar of work, we outline all the activity arranged, which is arranged in that chronologically order. And evaluations is a process of judging the effectiveness of program, either it is working or not, effective or not. And that program planning is a process which is both rigid and flexible process. And that first phase of program planning development cycle is like collecting of fact. The informations for evaluations can be collected at all stages of program. Question number 23. The type of farming in which crop productions is combined with livestock farming is known as option A, specialized farming, option B, mixed farming, option C, cooperative farming, option D, diversified farming. The right answer is option B, that is mixed farming. Let's see some types of farming. First is extensive farming. In extensive farming, by keeping all that factors remain unchanged, only one factor, that is land, which is increased to get more yield, that is known as extensive farming. While if we compare that intensive farming with extensive farming, in case of intensive farming, that in contrast, like more labor and capital is used in the same plot of land to get more yield. If we see that specialized farming, the farm from which like 50% or more income, if it's derived from that single enterprise like crop, livestock, dairy, poultry, such type of farm is known as a specialized farm. And if we see that mixed farming is one where crop productions is combined with like rearing of livestock. And if a farm which is produce at least more than 10% and at most 49% of a produce from that livestock, that farm would be called as a mixed farm. And if you see that diversified farm, the diversified farming is one that has several production enterprise and source of income, but none of that source of income should be more than 49% of total income. Okay. Okay, cooperative farming. In this type of farming, all the member has the right of ownership in the business, and the member voluntarily pull their resources for running the business, and there is no pressure other than a cooperative member. Okay, capitalistic farming is such type of farming in which that capital is done by the big business persons, or and for that labor that employed for that farming are that wages are paid to that such type of labors. And in case of a corporate farming, it is same as like of a capitalistic farming, but the right of ownership is based on the basis of share taken by the member, and the profit is distributed according to the share of the member. Okay, let's see that state farming is that farming which is governed by that government, and that government itself appoint that farm manager for conducting day-to-day agriculture operations. Okay, and if we see that collective farming like all that collective member like surrender their land, livestock, and implement to the society, and then these all members themselves select a managing committee which is responsible for allocations of work, distributions of income, and marketing of surpluses. And if we see that seasons farming, it is that most common farming where that farmer follow agriculture practice as their own way, and the managers and organize of their farm business, and entire farm family member make their that farm decisions. Such type of farming is known as seasons farming. Okay. Question number 24. An intensive teaching activity undertaken at an opportune time for a brief period of time, focusing attention in a concerted manner toward a particular problem so as to stimulate widest possible interest in the community is known as option A, propaganda, option B, publicity, option C, campaign, option D, animal health camp. The right answer is that is campaign. That campaign is an intensive teaching activities which is undertaken at an opportune time for a brief period of time, which is mainly focusing that attention in a concerted manner toward a particular problem so as to stimulate widest possible interest in a community. While propaganda is especially information which is biased or misleading nature, and it is used to promote a political cause or point of view. Okay. Question number 25. The basic unit of extension work is option A, individual, option B, society, option C, family, option D, community. The right answer is option C, that is family. The basic unit of extension work is family. Question number 26. An extension worker is option A, professional leader, option B, lay leader, option C, local leader, option D, voluntary leader. The right answer is option A, that is professional leader. Okay, let's see some types of leader. Okay, the traditional leaders are that those leaders which are traditionally minded and mainly characterized by traditionally value attitude, and they majorly resist new technology and do not believe in change. Okay, while political leaders are born out of the conflict and which is mainly struggle for that political power. If we see that autocratic leader, they like to hold maximum power on their hand, and they alone formulate the policy of the group. They try to maintain social distance from their member. If we see that democratic leader, it is that leader which is chosen by itself all the member, and they allow maximum participations of member in decision making process as well. If we see laissez-faire leaders, such leaders give complete freedom for that group or individual in decision making, and they believe that if you have worker, the work will be done itself. Such type of leaders are known as laissez-faire leaders. And institutional leaders are those leaders which whose powers are most formalized. That is, they work on rule and regulations which is made by the institutions. And if we say that bureaucratic leaders, these are leaders which is actually paid officially by government. Such type of leaders are known as bureaucratic leaders, and these leaders are punctual and disciplined in their work. And professional leader are those which are expert in their some specific field, example like extension worker. Situation leaders are those leaders which are born out of critical situation when there is no one to lead such or control the situation. Situation leaders are born. And if we see that lay leader, this is not well trained in leadership but work as a leader for a part time. Such type of leader is known as lay leader, or as well they are called as volunteer leader. For example, youth club president. Okay, question number 27. People learn more rapidly and permanently when the learner experience is pleasant and enjoyable. Relate to option A, law of readiness, option B, law of exercise, option C, law of effect, or option D, law of belonging. The right answer is option that is C, that is law of effect. Okay. Question number 28. Learning should make sense to the learner comes under option A, principle of readiness, option B, principle of clarity, option C, principle of practice, or option D, principle of timing. The right answer is option. Okay.